Hey there, welcome back to Hold and Modify. It's Q, host of YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel. And today, we've got the old 3000 and a can of Coke Zero and a lemming.
This computer will rule the world.
So as you can see, we're in a new year, 2024, and I have unfortunately kind of been a little out of date with my iBrowse maintenance, especially on this Amiga 3000. Now this video is not really about just iBrowse. I am going to update iBrowse, but I also want to cover the primary point of this video today is someone had asked me, I know to some of you this is going to seem simple, but remember, not everyone is as, they're not as involved with the Amiga as all of us have been, right? But someone wanted to know how to get their RTG card installed, like where do you get Picasso software from, and what's the difference between the one you pay for and the one that you can just download for free, or maybe they didn't even know there was one that was free because the one you can buy now has been out for so long that maybe people have just kind of forgotten about the old free one. Do you need it? Do you not need it? All that fun stuff. So I'm going to try and get through this as least painfully as possible, but 30% off on iBrowse, that's actually really awesome. And so as you can see, they're up to 3.0, and my iBrowse is actually 2.58. So I'm going to go through here and see if I can grab this new version. And yeah, my Amiga 3000, as always, is online using one of the kind of fancy newer network cards you can get. I've made previous videos about it. This 3000 though is pretty unique in that it's one of my few Amigas that has mostly original hardware in it. When I say mostly original, I mean it's an Amiga 3000 that has a Picasso 4 for its RTG card. So it's not like a ZZ9000 or something, or a PyStorm video or something like that, right? It has an original Phase 5 68060 in it that has that modern day LAN card. Unfortunately, I don't have a classic Amiga LAN card to put in it. However, all of that, I guess, is kind of superseded by the fact that, as a lot of you know, this Amiga 3000, while it is using real Amiga chips, all the chips are real Amiga chips in there, it is a re-Amiga 3000 from John Hertel. So in essence, while it's my most original parts Amiga, at the same time, it's kind of my most not original Amiga, isn't it? Anyway, let's go on here to iBrowse. So we're going to go ahead and click here, the release button, and you get all this fun descriptor saying it's going to do awesome and cool new things. So it looks like you do need to purchase it. The prices for registering iBrowse 3 up to 35% off previous versions. Okay. It says if you are not upgrading, you should proceed using a non-Amiga browser. Right, okay, well this is an upgrade. So what I'm gonna do here, I mean, I could try and do this all through the Amiga and not have to go over to the PC, right? I mean, that would be kind of interesting. But I'm gonna have to put in I'm sure PayPal information, or I'm not even sure how this is gonna work. Credit card information on my Amiga. I've never done that. I've never entered any kind of critical information over the internet on an Amiga. All right, so after clicking around a little bit, it looks like because I paid for the full 2.5 version, I'm able to just download it. Let's see. I'm gonna go save binary. It's going into my downloads folder. Yes. Go ahead and do that. That'll be awesome. I mean, I know I bought the full 2.5 version. I think I had 2.4, then I bought 2.5, and I mean, I'm always willing to toss money at these guys for all the work they're doing. You know what's really neat about that Flash plugin 2? I actually wonder if that Flash plugin 2 works with the new recently created retro YouTube website. There's a retro YouTube website that supports old Flash, and it's converting old videos to work and play on old computers. It's mostly designed for old Windows computers and old Macs, but there's a chance that if that Flash 2 plugin is completely supported, I mean, it goes to 2006, there's a chance you could get the retro YouTube clips to play in here. That would be a whole nother video though. Unfortunately, that would make this video 2 hours long if I tried to dive into that. So there we go. We've got those downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down iBrowse here. Now, why am I going through all this, not just showing you the RTG stuff, right? Well, it's because I want to download everything, kind of showing you how to do it on your Amiga, right? Because you've purchased your Retina card, your Picasso card, your Picasso 4 card, your EGS Spectrum card, your I don't know if the Opal Vision is actually supported with P96. All those cards I just listed off, and I think the ZZ9000, are all supported by Picasso 96 RTG software. So well, I should say the paid for version of Picasso 96 supports all those cards. The original free one I'm going to show you does not. So let's go here and go into the lovely land of Dopus. Pop over here to RAM, and then we're going to go ahead and extract the new version of Amy SL and this new version of iBrowse. I always think when I see this scroll by like this, I want to hear those old 1980s computer sound effects, like the ticka 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 ticka. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and install Amy SL first. Keep saying Amy SL, it's Amy SSLQ. Say it right. If you're going to say it, if you're going to take the time to say it right. 68060 powers installing. Yeah. So exciting. This whole process of owning an Amiga is fun, isn't it? It's a fun retro berry, nostalgia berry, whatever you want to call it, but it's still a usable, functional computer in 2024. That's what's really crazy to me. Supposed to reboot, but we're not done, are we? We are not. We've got to install iBrowse now. This isn't Windows 95. I don't have to reboot after every little thing I do. Ooh, where do you want to put it? Please select where you'd like to install iBrowse. Did I put it on my work? Did I? Did I? I did. It will detect that there's already something there. A bunch of cool things I'll just say yes to, because I don't read English, of course. That's what I speak, sort of. Not really great. Don't need other stuff. We'll take that stuff. Now, I will have to reboot. Ooh, that's right. So this is I have the RTG card in here, so I can continue to use the kind of sexy 256 color one, so we'll go ahead and do that. You could use them on an AGA Amiga too, of course. Now I'm going to do 24-bit true color because, again, this is I mean, you're looking at a Picasso screen right now. This is a Picasso 4 screen, so you're already looking at true color. It's going to ask for some other stuff. You're supposed to read all this. I read it. Proceed. Wait for the little LED in your hard drive to stop flickering, and then reboot. Yay! And look at that, we're back. Yes, I am on release 3.2.2.1. Well, people have noticed that, and I have 145 megs of fast memory on that Phase 5 there. Where am I? Oh, so my Amiga share down in the corner. I just kind of habitually fire this thing off. I don't really need to use it for what we're doing. First off, let's try this. Let's go to iBrowse and see if fancy new iBrowse is going to work for us. Yeah, 3.0, look at that. And it's not saying anything like, shame on you, this is a demo. Hey, look at that, look how pretty that is. Ooh, 24-bit graphics. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, well, let's go to AmiNet, okay? Let's get this out of the way first. Let's go to AmiNet. So you got your RTG card. Let's say you've got an original RTG card. You got a really old school Retina card, for example, which is like one of the earliest full RTG cards you could get for the Amiga that would let you retarget Workbench onto it, you know, have a nice 24-bit 800 by 600 screen. I think it even went up to 1024 by 768. There was a 2 megabyte version, there was a 4 megabyte version, and then later on they came out with like the Retina 2 and I think like a Retina 3 even, but it would come with its own drivers. Now the problem is the Retina card came with its own drivers, and it was its own little universe that existed outside of any kind of Picasso 96 stuff. Remember, Picasso 96 came out because of the competing product, the Picasso card. They came out with a driver package, an RTG driver package, which over time evolved to include all these other things, like even emulation, like WinUAE had its own driver for that software, and it kind of morphed into taking over its own little world. It kind of competed with the Cybervision products too. So what happened though with the evolution of the Picasso 96 is that they added support for that Retina card. So this Retina card, if you've gotten one off of eBay, you can use the Retina drivers that come with it, and the card will work, okay? It does work. But if you really want to maximize its abilities, like if you want to be able to have the best compatible RTG experience on your Amiga, you want to run the Picasso version of its drivers. And the Picasso 96 version of those drivers that supports that Retina card, you have to pay for over individual computers. The same guys that make the Buddha and the Flicker Fixer Mark II, Mark III products, they actually also sell the updated Picasso 96 driver. So if you have a Retina card, I recommend you skipping ahead and just buying that driver and using that. Or if you have a Picasso card, or you have a Picasso 2 card, obviously it comes with Picasso drivers. And that latest version of the driver does exist on AmiNet. If you just type it up here, P96, this is the original Picasso 96.LHA. Version 2, wrapped up way back in 1999. Look at that, jeez. But this version does support, as you'll see down here, it has a lot of fixes that they've done to it. They've support Workbench 3 and you know, Motorola processors. Look at all the products it supports. It actually includes Cybervision support, Domino, Merlin, Omnibus, Picasso 2, 2 Plus, 4, Piccolo, all these goodies in here. And yeah, if you look here, it even supports Retina Z3. Now, here's the key thing. It says Retina Z3. That's not the same as the original Retina card, okay? So if you have an original Retina 2 meg, 4 meg card, this driver does not support it. You have to buy the P96 updated driver from individual computers. But this here will just get you going. And you can download this, you run the installer. It's very simple, like any Amiga installer you've ever run, and you pick the card that you're running, and that's it. You're up and running. And when you get that installed, actually, let's not quit. Let's go back here. Let's go back. Now, okay, Q, well, I want to use the new one. What are you talking about? You've mentioned this a couple times now, this P96 individual computers thing. Well, click on here. Again, I'm doing this on the Amiga. You could do this on your Mac or PC. And what you'll see here is all the versions that they've done here. And they were up 3.4. Yeah, they're up to 3.41 right now. Gonna have to scroll down there. Obviously, individual computers website is not completely customized for the wonderful land of Amiga here. But yeah, the neat thing about this driver, not only does it add support for more boards, okay, so it supports more actual hardware boards than the original driver did back in '99. It allows more software to actually open up on RTG screens. Like way back when, if you tried to open Deluxe Paint on RTG with the original Picasso driver, all kinds of wacky things would happen. Like it would just go crazy, and it was basically, it was not compatible. You just couldn't do it. Don't even think about it. But with this updated Picasso driver, you can actually open up more screens, like more programs support opening up an RTG through all their coding and hacking and supporting. So this is really neat. You can actually, now Deluxe Paint is not 100% compatible still. There's still some screens and some modes and things that go wacky when you try to open them up on the Picasso screen, okay? But that's one of the things this does. This isn't just adding support for more cards. It's allowing more software to open up on RTG, more cards, and a bunch of bug fixes and a bunch of feature adds. So it's a really, you're not, you know, some people get upset that you have to pay for the new version every year. It's like 10 bucks or something, I think. How many people are buying this and using this, right? It's a small niche market, guys. And, you know, to spend all the time to code, look at all these versions they've done. To spend all this time to code all of this stuff you see scrolling by, I mean, 10 bucks is not a lot to ask for. Yeah, you grab this version, you install it, you pay the 10 bucks, whatever it costs for it. And then when you go to install it, you'll pick your card, as I said, it'll reboot. Q, why aren't you showing us all this? Install it, please, Q. Well, I mean, I could, but I mean, it's like every Amiga installer I just ran, just like the one you just saw for iBrowse. You double click it, it comes up, it asks you what card do you have, and you say, that's what I have. What's more important is when you reboot and you come back, you'll have this P96 folder. This has a bunch of little fun stuff in there. You can read. It has custom plugins for software like Shapeshifter and Add Pro. Yeah, if you want to emulate the Mac and have it be the fastest Mac you'll ever have, get an Amiga 3000 with a 68040 or faster, and like a Picasso 2 RTG card or faster. Use Shapeshifter, and man, oh man, it's the fastest Mac of that era you'll ever have. And then over here, if you go into Prefs, we can find Prefs. You'll have a pretty important one here. So let's see if I've buried it. Looks like I've buried it. Here it is, P96 Mode. Okay, so what's going to happen, you'll reboot, and you'll see here I'm using a modern standard computer monitor. Okay, it has VGA input. I don't know if you can see that down there. Yeah, maybe not, no. At the bottom, I'm using the VGA input on this modern panel. This panel does not support Amiga modes, of course, but because I'm using an Amiga 3000, I could use this because the 3000 has what? A built-in flicker fixer that would work with this monitor regardless. However, I'm using a Picasso 4, as you can see here. Picasso 4 also is one of the rare RTG cards for the Amiga that has a built-in flicker fixer. So even if you had no software installed, you can plug one cable into your Picasso card and see all of your native Amiga screens. That means you can boot off a floppy, a game, and it's gonna work even on a modern monitor. Okay, that's the really awesome thing about the Picasso 4 card, built-in flicker fixer. However, this card and this software came out in an era when we were all still using multi-scan VGA monitors, okay? You have to realize that way back when, VGA monitors, even though this is considered VGA today, you know, VGA compatible, the monitors of old actually were more multi-scan. They supported a wider range of frequencies than these modern ones do. These modern monitors have a really narrow band of frequency they support. It can be a little frustrating. So I've had some people say, Q, I got this RTG card, I plugged in my LCD, you know, my current computer monitor to it, rebooted, and the signal scrambled. It says they can't get anything. There is a chance that your monitor, just even though it's VGA compatible, and if you have a monitor that's HDMI only and you try to do this, I don't know if that's ever going to work. You really want a computer monitor, a modern computer monitor, it can be, but make sure it has that VGA input, so at least you stand a chance at having signals in that standardized VGA range that'll even try to work with this, okay? So make sure if you're using a modern monitor, it's a VGA input style monitor. When you go in here, you're gonna see a big list, and then you will queue, there's not a big list, there's only 3. Well, that's because I've deleted the big list because it contained a bunch of modes that this monitor simply couldn't do. Even though it's supposed to be VGA compatible, it just doesn't work. So what I had to do was go through and add in only the modes I cared about. And you build these modes up, and you can see over here, you've got to go to each color mode, 24-bit color, 16-bit color, 8-bit color, and you have to pick the frequencies for each one and then test it on your monitor to make sure it works. And they give you all the things you need here. You can see the clock slider here and interlace and double scan. You get your test mode. So what you do is you pick a mode, like let's make 800 by 600, and you click test, and you verify that it works. You're good to go, right? And you can go in there and you can edit it, and this is where you adjust the size and the position and do all the little dinguses to make it work, okay? It's very self-explanatory. Everything's explained on the screen. And then when you're done, of course, it's very important that you click the save button down here. Basically, if you don't, by the way, one of the things that some people will say, like, I don't see anything when I first start up. Well, you want to make sure it says attach setting to, see how it says no board? Make sure no board's not checked. Make sure it says board Picasso 4, or in your case, Picasso, Picasso 2, Retina, whatever you might have. After that board has been picked, then yeah, you'll have access to everything I'm showing you here. And this software is not great. Yeah, this skull means delete. This is, what's this one? This is copy, I believe, and this is paste. So watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna left click on 320 by 240, right? I'm gonna left click and hold, okay? And as I left click, see, it didn't work. If I left click and hold, now I can move it around and I can drop it up to the copy, the paste, the delete. This is how this works, guys. It's very, so I'm gonna go down here and let go. But again, it's really sensitive. Like, okay, 640 by 480, I'm gonna left click on it. I'm gonna left click it and hold on it again, and then move the mouse. Nope, didn't work. I'm gonna left click on it, move the mouse. Nope, didn't work. Left click again. Okay, there we go, got it. It's very, very sensitive. So if you're creating modes and you're starting to build up a big list of junky modes to delete them, you would drag it up here and let go onto the skull and it would delete it. I know, it's weird, it's janky, but that's how this interface works. It's really, really bizarre. But anyway, if your Picasso is not working with the monitor you've got, your modern VGA monitor, it's probably one of these things. Unfortunately, it means you're gonna have to boot into your Amiga on a display that works with your Amiga that you had before. Create these modes, flip over to it, see if it's scanning with it. Look, the trick is with any of these modern VGA monitors, just make sure the frequencies are within these kind of specs. 31 kilohertz, 32 kilohertz, 60 hertz. You don't want to float much outside of this, okay? You might be able to get 70 hertz, you might even be able to get 85 hertz, but the whole 31 kilohertz, 32 kilohertz, you're gonna have to keep it within these specs, okay? If you try to get out of these specs, it's just not gonna happen. The monitor's not gonna be able to sync to it. You'll notice I don't even have a 1024 by 768. Now, why is that? I don't use it. 1024 by 768 on an Amiga with all the software I use, this Amiga software, it's too big. Like if I was using a paint program, like a 2D paint program, or if I was using, TurboCalc or, a Final Writer or something, and I wanted lots of screen real estate for typing and desktop publishing, then maybe. But for the software I use, 800 by 600 is such a sweet spot for everything on the workbench, and it just looks nice, and the text scale's nice, and it just looks so pretty. And again, it's just, that's why I don't have anything higher. I think this card can support up to 1280 by 1024. And of course, it could probably support 1280 by 720. You could actually create a custom screen mode that would support that even on your Picasso card, which would be kind of neat for, you wanted to fill the monitor completely. Then again, you'd be stretching all of your Amiga software. Now, one of the things you might say is, well, Q, what do you mean the Picasso 4 has a flicker fixer in it? You kind of washed over that really fast. So you're looking right now, if we go back into preferences, you'll see under screen mode here, this fascinating screen mode icon. Look. Yeah, I'm using Picasso 800 by 600 24-bit. So that's what Workbench is currently set to. And anything else that can open up on a Workbench screen like Directory Opus, like you saw earlier, will open up on this screen. Like if I launch Fred up, for example, not on an RGG screen. Fred is back on an Amiga native screen. This is an actual native Amiga output, okay? And if you look really, really closely, like if you zoom in and YouTube hasn't crushed it to death, you'll actually see really, really skinny jail bars. And that's because the Amber chipset on the 3000 isn't the greatest. And you can tweak the pot on it to try and get rid of it, but it's always gonna have a little bit of the jail bars, and the Picasso 4 flicker fixer pulls the signal through and you get a nice representation of it. But here's an actual Amiga screen, and yeah, it's 4x3 because it's Amiga. And of course, you can see there's no clicking, there's no relay, there's no VGA pass-through. The Picasso is just grabbing all of the video directly out of the video slot from the Amiga 3000 and flicker fixing it. It's completely, actually, I was kind of incorrect when I said Amber. We're not using the Amber at all. We're bypassing the Amber completely because it's pulling it directly from the video slot. So I'm saying the Amiga 3000's video slot has jail bars in it. That old video slot tends to have those jail bars in it. At least from my experience, it does. And other programs, let's say like if I launch View, View is going to open up an even lower res, Amiga native screen. Again, this is coming out of the Picasso 4 directly, but it's an Amiga native graphics screen being passed through it and then flicker fixed to work on this monitor. If you tried to open this on this monitor and it wasn't being flicker fixed, it would just be a scrambly mess. It wouldn't work, it would go out of sync. So that's an example of what the Picasso 4 flicker fixer is doing for us. Pretty slick. And then yes, of course, one of the joys of using the Picasso on a 3000 with Lightwave is that while you can use retargetable graphics with Lightwave to give Lightwave a nice big 800 by 600 or even 1024 by 768 screen, it breaks some of the features of Lightwave. Even with the latest, greatest individual computers P96 driver, they still have not been able to figure out how to support the preview buffer that Lightwave does. So remember, what we're looking at right now is native Amiga output. So when I go hit playback on preview, this screen actually works, okay? If you do RTG mode, the playback does not work. However, Lightwave is buffering the animation to memory and chip memory, whatever it's doing, RTG cards and software have not been able to figure out. So this mode just does not work. So I never mode promote Lightwave. I let it open up on native Amiga screens, and that way I get all of the awesome. And as you can see, as long as you're in this 4-color mode, it's still pretty fast. If I go over here and switch to 8-color mode, so it looks a little, more pretty with the yellow colors, which allows you to see what's selected a little more easily. English. I speak English sometimes. It does slow down. So you can see the 3000 chipset, the ECS, the Picasso can't do anything about this because you're not going through the Picasso. This is a native screen. The only thing that's going to make this go faster is the 6860 in it. And it does. I mean, this is faster than the 25 megahertz 3000's 030 that it had, but there's only so much the non-AGA chipset can do. This kind of screen update you're seeing is definitely faster on the 4000 and the 1200. Now, if you've got a PiStorm or an Apollo product or like Pimiga, this will be super fast because it's doing an emulated version or a faster simulated version of the AGA chipset, and it's like super, super, super fast. But back here in real Amiga lands, yeah, I go back down to 4-color in the 3000 and just get my nice speedy, I'm all about the speed. I want to have nice speedy performance when I'm creating animations and scenes, right? We don't want it to be all janky and chunky and stuff. So there you go. That's kind of my quick overview, I guess my first video of 2024. I know underproduced, poorly produced guys, sorry, but I didn't even show you the actual Picasso 96 software installing it. Okay, fine. Here, setup. Look at this, Picasso setup. Look at this. Thank you for purchasing Picasso. This is the original one now. I'm right now for my fans. I'm at risk at screwing up my 3000's Picasso install because I'm using the newer version, and this is the original version. You click proceed. It says first install, update and installed version, uninstall and installed version. You'd click through, click proceed, and then it's going to go ahead and ask you what card you have, and you tell it, whether it's, a Cybervision card, whether it's a Merlin card, a Picasso card, a Retina card. You click yes, you go through the install, and that's it, guys. See, that's all it is. It's this kind of installer. I'm gonna go hit click abort. I don't want to mess everything up on here. And then like I said, you'll reboot, and when you come back, you'll have the stuff I showed you. The P96 thing, it has the plugins for the software you can use. And yes, if you go into prefs, more importantly, you'll have the P96 mode, which lets you edit and have fun with all the stuff the Picasso card can do. So there, I kind of sort of showed you, right? All right, that's it. I'm done with this video.